Yo, this is Urban Philosophy with your host, Jason Ewer. This week we are taking it straight to the streets. We want to find out how the everyday man feels about arguments for the existence of God. This week we're focusing on the ontological argument, so let's go. Yes, it looks like we found our first interviewee. Sir?
Me?
Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, yeah, no time for homework, none of that.
Okay.
Sir, my name is Jason.
Hello, Jason.
I'm here with Urban Philosophy. Okay. And, we're really just going around and, talking to the people about philosophy. And what I'd like to hear from you, sir, are your views on the ontological argument.
The ontological argument, Jason?
Yes, sir.
Look, okay, I'll do this one more time. You seem like a nice guy, Jason. Honestly, the ontological argument, I've been over it, been through it, I'm done with it. I've studied it, I dabble in philosophy. But the ontological argument is irrelevant to me. It doesn't make sense, it has foolish premises. I'm just...
I feel like you feel very strongly about this, but before you set your judgment in stone, let me show you a video from one of our other participants.
I mean, you can do that, but...
Sir, excuse me.
Yes?
Hi, my name's Jason.
Hi, Jason. Nice to meet you. My name is Sabbir. Hi.
I'm here with Urban Philosophy, and you look like a fairly well-read man.
Thank you.
We were just wondering if you could share your views on the ontological argument.
Of course. Let me start off by defining the ontological argument. It starts out with two main aspects. First is the definition of God. We define God as being a being than which none other can be conceived. And then we go on to saying existence is a great-making property, which means that if something exists in reality, it's greater than something that doesn't exist in reality, or exists in the understanding, as in you understand the concept of God. Now we can move on to the argument. The first argument is that, or the first premise of the argument is that, let's say God exists only in the understanding, and we assume that. And then we can say, if that's true, that means that he may have existed in reality, because people understand the concept of God. But if he only exists in understanding, that means that he may have been greater than he already is. But that's a contradiction, because we already define God as being a being than which none other can be conceived. So that's an obvious contradiction, which leads us to the conclusion saying that God exists both in understanding and in reality. Simply put, the ontological argument proves the existence of God.
Thank you.
You see this iPhone? Yeah, I'm seeing my iPhone. Picture in your mind the greatest iPhone per se. The fact that you can picture that in your mind, Jason, means that it in the understanding, because you understand that the greatest iPhone exists. Now, picture that greatest iPhone in reality. Because it's in reality now, that already makes it greater than the greatest iPhone that was in the understanding, because it exists now. But what I just said was a contradiction. And in fact, you can do that with any single object. It doesn't have to be this great iPhone in my hand. It could be anything, which means the ontological argument can be disproven by anything. So how do you feel?
I don't think the argument works exactly, because first of all, you're using the example of an iPhone. You can always picture a great iPhone. I don't have an iPhone, but clearly he has one, and you can imagine one that's greater than that. But with the example of God, you can't picture some being that is greater than God, because God is a being than which none other greater can be conceived or possible.
Yes, hello. I have a problem with what you just said. By defining God the way you already defined it, you're already assuming that he exists. That's called begging the question, Mr. Philosopher. What do you have to say?
Well, I mean, actually, the thing is, I'm not saying that he exists in reality. I'm saying that people understand the concept of God, which is existing in understanding. But if you assume that it's only true that he only exists in understanding and doesn't exist in reality, we can go back, and it's called a reductio argument. You can go back to the argument proving that it's false and saying that he actually exists in reality.
Okay, no. You're already making existence a property, which it's not. You can't do that. Third of all, an infinite being is impossible. I'm out. Philosophy, what's up?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been arguing about philosophy all day, but as you can clearly see from all those objections, clearly the ontological argument is a weak one. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next week with Urban Philosophy.